I am back with another video. The restrictions in Leicester have finally been lifted. TeamSport have opened the doors to the track, which means I've been able to rearrange my previous booking. So me and a friend grabbed our stuff, jumped in the car, and we headed down there on Friday night for one of their 3 for 2 sessions. For those of you that watched my previous video, I've been to the Cov track but haven't yet headed over to this one here in Leicester. I'm going to show you in this video what makes TeamSport so good is the fact the tracks are so varied. Is the one in Cov is quite tight, quite twisty and very grippy, whereas this one here in Leicester is very wide. It's a lot faster, a lot more flowing, but crucially there's also a lot less grip, so you've got to be really careful with your throttle inputs and your steering and braking. Right, I'm going to show you in this video my fastest lap from each session. I will then talk you through my fastest lap overall of the night, and right at the end of the video I'm going to show you a little clip of what it's like to get murdered into a hairpin. Now the reason this video is going to be so short and there's only going to be a couple of clips outside of my fastest laps is down to how well everyone drove that night. To be honest with you, there was me and my friend that have been karting a few times, and the rest of the field, which I believe there was a full track which is 16 people in total, so the other 14 people drove really well, so they'd obviously been karting before and pretty much knew what they were up to. So without further ado, we'll head out onto track. So here you're going to see me doing some incredible tyre warming skills. I've taken a leaf out of Steve Super GT's book, but I've adopted it to be more of a Tokyo Drift inspired tyre warming session, which actually worked surprisingly well. Right, onto my fastest lap from the first session. It's a pretty clean lap, not a lot to talk about. I say that as I nearly go into the back of that bloke coming out of the first hairpin, but apart from that there's no dramas. The only thing is I drift a little bit wide out of the final corner, but it sets me a time of 38.7. Okay, race number 2, I managed to set myself a 38.4 in this session, which is a 3/10 up on my previous best lap, but as you'll see throughout there's just a few small mistakes that I keep making, so there's still plenty of room for improvement. As you'll see, I missed the apex into the second hairpin. I'm struggling with that one all night. I'm still unsure of the best way to take that corner, but I'm sure I'll get there in the end. And then as we come down the backstroke to the quote-unquote banked corner, I get a bit too much oversteer on, which is going to cause me to lose speed up the ramp onto the top section. And then when we are at the top, I'm just a little bit too eager to get back on the power, a load of oversteer, which then makes the corner before the down ramp just a little bit too sharp and affects the run all the way to the finish line. And then I think 2 laps after that my session was cut short, but more on that towards the end of the video. Before my next lap, I just want to take a moment here to say thank you to the guys at TeamSport for in between each race wiping down every kart to keep us all as safe as they possibly can during this pandemic. Here we go then, race number 3. I managed to get myself a 38.3 in this one, which is yet another improvement, this time only by a 10th, but the lap was definitely a little bit tidier. A few areas that I could have improved was the first hairpin there, where I just kind of struggled a little bit for grip. The second hairpin was definitely a lot neater, but again could have been just a touch tighter to the apex. And then once we head upstairs, again I could have been tighter the whole way around before heading back downstairs, and then I drift just past the second apex of the final corner, but all in all I was pretty happy with that lap. Ordinarily that would have been it for the night for the 3 for 2, but seeing as we're members and I wasn't particularly happy with that session with the traffic, I just kept running into big pockets of people where I was struggling to get by, so I'm to let off and ruin a lot of laps. We decided to ask the guys if they were mind putting us back out for another 15 minutes, which obviously we paid for, which they allowed us to do, and now I will show you the fastest lap from that session and talk you through it. So here we go, fourth and final session of the evening. Managed to set myself a 37.8, which is a half a second increase over my previous fastest lap of the night. And then most importantly, the whole reason for this visit was to beat my previous personal best around this track, which was set at 37.9. So I managed to get myself a 1/10 improvement. So I came off the track feeling very happy about that. But as you'll see, there's still a couple of little areas that could be improved. So I've still got some time to be found. For now, I'll talk you through this lap. So heading down towards the first hairpin, use the brake to help get the kart rotated, which will open up your exit, which will allow you to get a better run down into the second hairpin. And then here you want to be really gentle on the throttle on the exit, as you can lose quite a lot of traction there. And then heading round towards the banked corner, you want to brake just before the metal strip on the floor and instantly back on the power, use up all the track on the exit to get a good run up the hill. And once you come round, you want to lift off just about there, turn in, keep it tight towards the end to open up the exit down the ramp, and then you want to make sure you hit both apexes at the bottom of the hill onto the back straight and then cross the finish line. And that was it, my best lap, a 37.8. And as promised at the start of this video, I'm now going to show you me getting absolutely murdered into the first hairpin. I've caught up behind this group of guys relatively quickly towards the end of the lap. There's probably 6-7 of us in total, with maybe even a couple more behind me. So as we head down the ramp to get ready to start the next lap, we're all going to converge on the first hairpin at the same time. So as we go around the corner, I slightly back off to give myself a little bit of space, and bang! That really hurt. So I decided to call it quits for that session and headed back into the pits, and the guys even took this kart off the track for the rest of the evening to do some checks and make sure everything was okay with it because of how hard I was hit from behind. But that's it for this video. So if you haven't got yourself down to the Leicester TeamSport track, I highly recommend doing so. The staff there are really friendly and the track's great fun too, so you're always going to have a good time. And until the next time, I'll see you later.